Hello, and welcome to Why I Love Warhammer, this series where I go into an unscripted ramble about why I love something in this hobby. And this one's probably going to be a shorter episode because it's Blackstone Fortress. Here is the entire range of Blackstone Fortress available to purchase right now, which is one box. One box that costs about the same as your average Imperial Knight, but it contains so much. You've got an enormous number of 44 miniatures with 40k data sheets. But here's what I love about it so much, right? It's hugely varied and a standalone board game. So I always want to get more people into the hobby in as best as I can, as easily as I can, and as ethically as I can, right? And I know a lot of people who play board games. I used to frequent a shop in Manchester, back when I worked in Manchester, that specialised in board games. I have two separate groups of friends who I play board games with on a semi-ish regular basis, right? I love board games. It's fantastic. I also love Warhammer. Obviously I do. That's what this whole channel is about. Blackstone Fortress is a beautiful hybrid that lets a board game audience get introduced to 40k. And because it's standalone, it's going to have a better internal balance. And it's up to 5 players. It's so hard to find games for 5 players where it's balanced that way. And yeah, it's got some cool lore, and it takes place within the world of 40k, but without being either a skirmish scale game or an army scale game. So let's go through some of these models, right? Because I think they're glorious. So 1, hexagonal board pieces. It makes so much sense. It's 6 directional movement, perfect tessellation. It's just glorious. Having little groups, I think, works really well as well. The variety of the models is also insane to me. Right? So here are some basic heroes that are one group, and just look at them, right? This guy looks like some imperial lord. He looks like he runs a planet, and you think, why is he here? Yeah, there are lore explanations for it all. There's a book as well, but this kind of pelt he's got around him looks glorious. He's got a pipe like a villain in a Poirot story. And then this one here. I think of this one as being female, but happy to be corrected. This gorgeous Imperial Aquila. Amazing headpiece that reminds me of the Lumineth from Age of Sigmar. Huge scroll, a beautiful looking staff, like it's cane. It's a wonderful thing. It's all mechanized. There's a tape recorder. You feel like she's recording the conversation. Eldari person who is working. Yeah, this lady is working with the others. That beautiful sword with that glowing effect, the Eldari sniper rifle, is just phenomenal. And she's got the hood, so it's kind of a bit covert. And a Kroot. This was one of the earlier Kroot redesigns that came up, so it's a lot more unique looking. The Kroot rifle is more of a sniper rifle. Fully rocking the Garrus from Mass Effect look. This cloak, he's a lone operative. There's so much personality, I think, in this model that I just adore it to pieces. And, okay, I know in lore this guy is convinced they're not a Men of Iron. I think that's, if I'm remembering correctly, this guy doesn't think they're one of the Men of Iron, but they're one of the Men of Iron. I want an entire 40k army of these. I want a kill team of these guys. I think it's phenomenal. I love having this within the Blackstone Fortress game, and I want more. And of course, ratlings. I think as 40k players, it's very easy to forget that the 40k races are mostly transferred fantasy races. So, yeah, our Leagues of Votan are the dwarves, our Eldari are the elves, Drukhari dark elves, but hobbits and halflings. And these guys are straight up Tolkienian hobbits, down to the hairy feet. So, yeah, very happy that we got more rattling representation. I love the grappling hook. I like how it's been it's been put in a way that feels a bit more believable than your grappling hook in either like Legend of Zelda or Gravity Falls. This feels like a believable grapple. And, this priest here, this is the full mad priest. This is the kind of priest that if you go to Edinburgh in the summer, Edinburgh, Scotland, when I went in the summer, there were people outside a church screaming and with screaming religious passages, holding up signs, and this feels like one of them. And I mean that as a compliment to this model. It's got the full inquisitorial, evangelical screech about it, and I think it's glorious. And one thing I also love, right, is he's holding up a gun. So he's holding up a book which is attached to a gun. When he's got the servo skull, it looks like it's the one actually operating the gun, right? So it feels like he's screeching holy words, and then holy fire comes out. And if that isn't brilliant kind of storytelling within a model, I don't know what is. Also, he's wielding a mace. I love maces like this. It's one of my favourite kind of medieval style weapons. I feel like that's probably the most it's probably a very boy sentence to say, one of my favourite medieval style weapons, but it is, and it's phenomenal. I love it. Okay, now we've got more kind of culty characters like big flame vindicator on the chain store aspect of it, and it's the tube for all the promethium that fuels it. And then we've got the chaos and the chaos side, the enemies. I love this Chaos Lord model. It's now the Chaos Lord model that 40k use. Got a couple of Chaos Legionnaires, some Traitor Guard, these ghouls. Let's just go through some more. So Chaos Lord with a couple of Legionnaires, lovely. I love the expression. I love the hammer. I think hammers are really cool weapons. This kind of plasma gun with it and this pelt. I think there's a lot of personality in the face. It's a far less derpy expression than some Chaos characters end up having. And the two Marines by his side, I think, are beautifully made. I love the little horns. Traitor Guard, really upping the ante with the enemies you can face in this game. I like that. Yeah, they're very much they scream Traitor Guard. They look like Imperial Guard, but a bit chaosified. And I think that's really nice to have, and I want more of it. But it's lovely to have it here. It's brilliant getting to explore the aspects that are clearly in 40k but aren't full armies. So we've got more Beastmen, 40k Beastmen. They exist in a kill team and Blackstone Fortress, and they're really well done. I love the posing. They've got these ones have have these facial expressions of like rage and carnage, and this one looks tired. And there's something to me about him looking tired that adds a lot more personality to the model, and I really love it. I don't know what these guys are. These guys look like kind of maybe like Nurgle Mechanicus to me. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but they're horrifying in the best way. The pallid skin, these kind of cattle prod weapons, these tentacles coming out of their heads. What is not to love? Look at it. Look at this thing. It's beautiful. But these guys, psychers, chaos psychers, their skull literally cannot contain how much brain they have. They're being weighted down to stop themselves floating away. It's brilliant to me. I love how extra they look, how much more there is to them than there are for other psychers. There they are. These ghouls, I think, are terrifying. I love these multiple eyes, the webbed hands and feet, making them look even more alien. They're a bit hunched, but they are just phenomenal. They feel like they'd be relatively easy to paint, to be honest. Got a base of, because you could probably do like a light blue contrast paint, and you'd get most of it done, and then a bit of, inks and highlights to get the rest. And you got these pretty swift to paint. But yeah, it's these multiple eyes and with those mouths that freak me out in the best way, and I just think this is a really cool. Yeah, it's a cool set of models to have in Blackstone Fortress. To me, these are the things that really exemplify it. These spindle drones. I don't know what it is about them. I think maybe it's their tripod-ish. Maybe it's just I like robots in my sci-fi games. But I think these are just the coolest things, and I love how they're designed. If I manage to get myself together enough to get Blackstone Fortress, this would be the enemy I'd try to use in any introductory game I had for it. Board states and the full rules manual. So you just go through. It's a board game. You read the rules. You explain it to your group of people playing, and you go from there. And we've got 40k data sheets, but I feel like it's far. If you're trying to get people into a game, I feel like it's far easier to get people to say, you are the robot, you are the Kroot, you are the Eldar, you are a Ratling, than it is to say, you are the forces of the demons of the god of blood. And I think that smaller scale, yet again, I think makes it a bit more accessible. And it is a bit a way you could play a game in this universe with people who maybe just wouldn't get into any of the other games. But I'll tell you, we're kind of nearing the end of the images here, but there's one more thing I think is really neat that, again, I think lowers the barrier to entry. Because this is a board game, it's not competitive. Painting the models isn't as mandatory, right? So, red sprue to distinguish player characters and enemy characters. And I think that just adds a layer to the game of just that one step more accessible. And if you don't paint them, then they're still visually stunning and visually different and distinct. So, yeah, that's kind of everything in the Blackstone Fortress box and why I think it's really cool. But to summarize, I think that it's a way. I love Blackstone Fortress because it's a way of having more games in this universe, but extending it to people who might find it, the barrier to entry too high, and you can play with them, and it's a different style of game. It's a standalone board game with the hexagonal squares, which I always approve of, and the sculpts within are just beautiful. That's all for today. I will see you all in the next video. If you want to drop a like, I'd really appreciate that. Comment your opinions on Blackstone Fortress. Do you like it? Do you not? Drop me a comment below. If you want to subscribe for more positivity about this game, the game's in the Warhammer setting, not just Blackstone Fortress. Subscribe for more. Memberships and memberships are open. Patreon in the description. Thanks to our channel members. We've got our love tier members and our love tier names in the end card. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. And until next time, I hope you are all having a really good day.